Greetings, and thank you so much for joining me. This is just going to be a time of testimonial to show why I do what I do and how I got here, basically. And what is so interesting is as I reviewed and looked back over my life, there were many instances where I needed someone like me. Even as a child, I can remember different things. So I am Natasha L. Brown. I'm the founder of NewPeace Wellness. I founded the company in 2006, and I started officially working as a holistic coach and helping many people. And actually, I had to start with my family. So, as a child, like I said, I didn't realize some of the things that I dealt with and really wasn't sure what to do and how to do it. Many illnesses, some that were diagnosed by a physician, and some that were not properly diagnosed. And once I did find out what was really going on, I was able to better assist my body in healing its way to wholeness, which is always a beautiful thing. So, some of the things I can think of as a child, I used to have achy joints. I wouldn't call it arthritis. If I had been diagnosed with something, it probably would have been more acidic. In middle and high school, I definitely did not eat like I should. I ate so much milk chocolate, which has a lot of caffeine in it. It started creating issues with my monthly menstrual cycle, really bad cramping. There was constipation because of some of the things that I was eating or not eating. Let me say it that way. The lack of nutrition in my diet at the time, but I call it a food lifestyle now because diet is DIE, die. Something has to die in order for you to get there and maintain it. But the constipation, because I wasn't drinking enough water, definitely wasn't hydrated. You have the constipation, which I wasn't impacted once I got into the medical field and started working in the hospital. I realized that it could have been worse because I worked on a floor where a patient actually died from being so impacted, and they did not take him seriously. The nurses thought that, because he was young, that he didn't know what he was talking about, but he actually died because he was so impacted. I'm not sure of all of the details, but he definitely he could have survived if they had diagnosed him properly and treated him properly. Achy joints, constipation, bad cramping. There were other things that took place, all based on not eating a healthy food lifestyle, not hydrating, definitely wasn't exercising like I could have for my age. It just a lot of things that took place. Then we fast forward to I had my second son, and less than a year after I had him, I was diagnosed with cervical cancer in 1998. And in 1998, I was seeing one physician, and she did a biopsy, tested the tissue. That's when we got the diagnosis. I'm not saying I received it. I was told that it was cancer. She recommended me to another physician once the biopsy came back, and I asked for a second opinion, but the physician was so thrown that she basically tried to talk me out of it and telling me, now I lived in Atlanta at the time, so it's a larger city. She was saying that there was not another lab in the city to test, which I knew wasn't true. There's too many hospitals in that city. You even had a teaching hospital. So to say that there was only one lab made no sense. And so I had to get a third doctor, that someone that would listen to what I was saying, because I didn't want to die. I didn't want any type of medical treatment. And if I had not been in a ministry where holistic remedies and home remedies and just health in general was being taught by the pastor, I know I would be dead, because he introduced me to the holistic coach that I work with, that helped me get back on track and find out that most of what was going on in my body was emotional, and like I said, lack of nutrition and hydration. So at the time I was being diagnosed, I was going through a divorce. Eventually I got into a position where I was laid off from the hospital. So there was a lot going on personally, and just the divorce alone is stressful, but then to be laid off and have two children and, have to work that situation out, it was stressful as well. So the mental, emotional, physical, everything played a part in getting that diagnosis. And what's amazing is the way that God created the body. That mind body connection is not always taught, and it should be something that is explored more with medical professionals that take the time to find out whether it's actually something physical or is it something emotional. And even in between the divorce, when I was still at the hospital, what was so strange to me is there was only one physician that really asked what was going on in my life, because I was having migraines. We thought it was some type of food allergy. When she asked the question, she just said it was stress. Now, at that time, stress was really not something that they would write down as a diagnosis, but she said it was stress. I needed to eliminate the stress, get the stress out of my life, and I needed to move forward in a place of peace, in a place of wholeness. And, she didn't give any medication. She gave more tips and things that I needed to do in order to eliminate stress. Some things, if it was a migraine, that I needed to avoid eating, which a lot of things that we are medicated for, or that people are medicated for, they're induced by food that they're eating. You eat a particular food and the food doesn't agree with you. And then what you do is you continue to eat that food because you don't realize that it's the food. Some people do realize, because I've worked with client students that will say, that bacon gives me indigestion, but it's so good, I still eat it. Which makes no sense, because those are warning signs your body's giving you that it doesn't like that particular food, or it doesn't like the way it was cooked, or it doesn't like this or that. And people don't always listen to those symptoms. And when we're not listening to our body, we overlook things that can just be something minor. And as we continue to ignore it, it becomes a full-blown diagnosis. In my case, it was a cancer diagnosis. And with that in mind, I knew that there had to be another route or path, because I had children to live for. I didn't have time to die. So I definitely was not taking medical options, because my grandmother had radiation, and basically she died from the radiation, not from the cancer. I believe that with all my heart, because she was a healthy, vibrant woman, and the radiation basically kills the good and the bad. And then the body has to reproduce the good in order to begin to move forward. Not everyone has the same reaction to different things. And that's why it's so important, even with what's going on now with the debate of, what your vaccination status should be. It's a major role in your life to know your body. Most over-the-counter medications make me sick, whereas someone else, since they sell so many every year, other people have no issue with it. So knowing what you can and cannot do, knowing what your body is going to accept and reject, is definitely important. And it's something that we're not encouraged to do. So with going through all of the health ailments that I had and illnesses, and coming out on the side of knowing that God has created a remedy to heal any dis-ease. And the dis-ease is because the body is not in a place of peace, not in a place of its original state. We've done something to the body to get it to that state. So once we do that, there are things that we have to do to change it. So if you know you ate your way into this state, just like with gaining weight, people think that during the holidays, especially October through December, you should gain a little bit of weight. That little bit every year adds up to a lot, which in turn damages the body slowly but surely. So if you can keep in mind and be disciplined enough to eat in moderation, to eat what's needed and necessary, and not just comfort and feel good foods. If you're needing comfort food, why are you needing the comfort food, right? So, with all of that said, I had to evaluate all of those things in my life. And the holistic coach, she challenged me on that. And once I began to start having full bowel movements, which a full bowel movement is where you can taste the taste in your mouth should change. Your palate should be clean once you have a full bowel movement. And remember, I said I was suffering from constipation. So that experience in itself was amazing to me. And I had been taking supplements and different things. But once you find out that if you eat properly, because God created everything we need in order for the body to work the way that he created it, right? We're made from the dust of the earth. So that soil, that good ground, if we utilize that and eat from it, our body gets what it needs. We need that nutrition. We need those vitamins. We need those minerals. We need hydration. And when we're eating and hydrating properly, and as well as sleeping restfully, and a lot of people miss that, sleeping restfully, it makes a major difference in the body. And we take these little things for granted, but little makes much. Every day, if you're doing routinely, doing what is best and good for your body, you can only possess wellness. Nothing else can come into your personal space. So once my children began to get older, and this is just how I became more proactive instead of reactive, because most of these things I reacted to. But in reacting, I learned how to make sure myself as well as my family, and then began to teach what it is that I learned to help my body in get into a whole state, right? And we weren't created to be sick. We were not created to be sick. We were created to be whole. So once my children got older, two of my three were diagnosed with asthma. I found out, we did some research, and I found out it was dairy that was creating the diagnosis. And what's crazy is the dairy creates the mucus that was creating the difficulty in breathing. And when I tell parents this now, most parents don't want to change the way that the household is eating. They rather, especially if you have good insurance and you don't actually pay for the medication, which you pay for the medication in the insurance, right? Monthly. But if you don't actually pay for the medication when you go to the pharmacy, they would prefer to keep the child on asthma medicine or risk the child having some type of respiratory attack or different things. And a lot of physicians say that you'll grow out of it, which could be true in certain cases, but why not eliminate what's creating it? And in most cases, it's the dairy, especially in Moorish people. Dairy, the dairy that is produced and sold locally in the US is European dairy. It's not dairy that was created for Moorish people. So once we get into a mindset that what's making me sick, I need to eliminate. If you're brave enough to eliminate it, you will be brave enough to heal that body. And as you heal the body, you'll get into a place of wholeness. We've also, out of all of that, once I started in 2006 with NewPeace Wellness, we've done wellness challenges, we've done 6-week detoxes, we've done lifestyle challenges. And when I was on the radio, we did several sessions where we challenged people to do little things each day. Hypertension, hypotension, either one. You found out what you needed to do in order to get your blood pressure regulated and in the right place. Blood sugar, also lower that blood sugar by doing certain things. Many of the foods that are saying sugar free, that are supposed to be quote unquote diabetic friendly, have artificial sweeteners, which creates different issues in the body as well. So with all of that being said, when we find out that there are things that we are doing, and not even intentionally, but intentionally to the body, because like I said, even with having indigestion or heartburn or upset stomach, whatever it is, when you eat certain foods, if you continue to eat it, you are intentionally harming yourself. And why would we intentionally harm ourselves? Most people, when I ask if they love themselves, they say they love themselves. But if I talk about what you're eating, what you do to show whether you love yourself, most people can't answer those questions. So just being mindful. And through all of the illnesses and diseases and the different client students that I've helped reverse and recover from different things, it has shown me that what it is that I'm supposed to be doing is shortening the healing curve for those that are to come. So we use biblical principles in order to make sure that your body begins to heal the way that God created it. So I just wanted to share, because sometimes people think it's an overnight success, you come from nowhere. But there are many things that I've had to go through from a young child that I've overcome as far as the body is concerned, that qualifies me as an expert in holistic healing, as well as a healing evangelist. And, I received, I didn't receive it. I was told about the diagnosis, definitely correct myself. I was told about the cancer diagnosis. I was a leader in ministry. So many of your ministers, your leaders, senior leaders, secondary leaders are suffering unnecessarily and still ministering to you. So definitely be mindful of how you interact with people, how you interact with yourself, what you're eating, if you're hydrating, if you're sleeping well. Because many times when we're not sleeping, that's a sign there in itself that there's something going on in the body that needs to be corrected. So I just wanted to share that, because I don't always share the full testimony of how I got here, which is the reason God gave me new peace. New peace. Once I was able to get out of dis-ease and I was able to ease into healing and possess wellness and wholeness for my body, it gave me new peace of mind, new peace of purpose, new peace of heart. So definitely, I encourage you to be proactive. If there's anything going on in your body, you can definitely contact us at whathappenedtoyourlastmeal.com, whathappenedtoyourlastmeal.com, and you can actually get what you need. Just contact us and let us know what's going on. We can do individual as well as group coaching. And we always seasonally have something going on that you can participate in as well. Because did you know that our organs thrive in different seasons? So depending on what time of the year it is will depend on which organ you should actually be focusing on. So, year round, you shouldn't be just focusing on one particular organ. You shouldn't only be focusing on immunity when it gets cooler. Your entire body needs love. So keep that in mind the next time you have a slight headache or you have an ache or pain. What's causing it? Don't medicate it. Ask your body, what is it that you need or you are not doing to make sure that you get what you need. Because God created us whole, He created us well, and He created us the way that we were destined to be. So I am Natasha L. Brown, founder and owner of NewPeace Wellness. I am a holistic coach and a healing evangelist, and I just wanted to share my testimony of New Peace and how we got to our NewPeace Wellness as a company. So have a beautiful, beautiful day, and thank you so much for listening to my testimony.